Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Tulley, President and Executive Writing Coach with Defend and Publish, and welcome to episode 87, Job Hunting in September 2022. This episode is devoted to talking a little bit about our upcoming September workshop on writing for the job hunt, but also a few pointers in general that I think might be useful to think about as we enter into the new academic job hunting season. On the screen, for those of you that are able to watch on YouTube, you'll see our workshop on Eventbrite. And what the workshop is it starts on September 7th, and it consists of 4 weekly classes on various job materials you need to write. For example, cover letters and diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, research agendas, and documents like that. And one of the reasons I wanted to do an episode devoted to this topic was it's not just that we're running a workshop, and that's great. And I hope that many of you are able to join us. I would argue it's probably a great deal. So at the time this episode is airing, we are running all 4 weeks for just $40. And we're actually going to workshop job ads and materials that you might have for those specific job ads in the workshop. So participants are encouraged to bring anything that they have for jobs that they're applying for, so they can get some writing coaching in those meetings. Also, all of them will be recorded for anybody that cannot attend live. But the other reason why I wanted to use this episode to talk a little bit about this is that I do feel that academic job hunting is different in September of 2022 than it was last September and the September before that. Certainly after the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, job hunting is just changed. And looking at a lot of the ads that are out this year with clients, and also just doing a little bit of research on my own to check these out, it's one thing that has become clear is that virtually everyone is asking for some experience, for example, with teaching in different modalities for learning. So can you teach online? Are you able to do hybrid? Can you do asynchronous type classes? And so all of those things, of course, have to be addressed in teaching materials and cover letters if they're asked for. But I would argue even if they're not asked for, they probably need to be mentioned at this stage, since so many schools are operating in environments where maybe some classes are online, some are not online. And one of the things I think is really important to think about when we think about job hunting in September 22, the other thing, in addition to noting any kind of flexibility with teaching or, varied experiences with modality, but another thing that I think is worthwhile noting is to talk about a research agenda in a way that also shows that your research is flexible and that it can be worked in multiple contexts. So, for example, this is not possible for everybody. If you're a scientist and you must be working in your lab, that may be the case. But for others of us, maybe some of our research has to be done on site if we're in, say, anthropology or a field like that. But other research is a little bit more portable. And I think if you can emphasize a little bit about portability and flexibility throughout with your teaching, with your research, with the type of service that you do, it does seem to illustrate that you're a candidate that truly understands what working in a higher education environment might be about. And this is not true for all positions. Some are still very traditional. They're still asking for very traditional things. But in lieu of any other type of advice for this particular episode today, I would argue this is something that is worth thinking about. How can I show that I have this type of resiliency, this flexibility? How can I show I've supported students in these uncertain environments? How am I making sure that my research agenda is going, even if, there's school closures or some of these other factors that might affect it, for example, not having access to a lab. So one of the things that we'll be doing in these workshops for anybody that decides they want to join us for them is really thinking about what kind of job ads are out there, because they do look different now. They seem like they look the same, but there's all these extra nuances dropped in, particularly about online teaching and some of those types of things. But there might also be some other language in there. Many academics laugh about the ads that will ask for, 5 different unrelated subfields, and they're hoping that they have a candidate that meets all 5. For those of us on the other side of the table, and I've been in charge of many, many job searches at our institution, this is something that I see that we're hoping to get maybe 2 out of the 5. And so what we're really looking for more is somebody that's going to be able to keep up, that's going to work with us in the type of environment we're in now. So I know for me, when I'm looking at job ads this year, I'll be looking for all kinds of clues that the person could easily adapt if we have to close school for a week or go online for 2 weeks, or maybe a semester starts online and then goes back to face to face. I will be looking for that type of flexibility, and I'm positive that other institutions and the job search chairs in charge of those would be looking for those as well. So for any new candidates on the market, I know that's one thing we'll talk about. Another thing in the workshop that I know we'll be focusing on is really tailoring the cover letter that you write to the job ad, and not just echoing back what's in the job ad, because as with all things, a job ad is usually a negotiation. It's not always written by one person or that it actually represents the department's true needs. It's probably a mix of some negotiation between several faculty members, the administration, what's allowed to be said in the ad, what's not allowed to be said in the ad. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of decode these job ads. And I know our first workshop on September 7th will discuss that. So if you're able to join us for our job hunting workshop, this would be something that we'd encourage you to be a part of. If you're not able to do it, or you end up listening to this episode late, it's never too late to join after September 7th. You can email me at Christine@defendandpublish.com and reach out to us that way, and we can get you registered if you'd like to join us after the fact. So hopefully this helps give you a few things to think about as we move into the job hunting season, but we're hoping that we have lots of people join us. So we're hoping for a robust discussion with some writing coaches about some things that you can do to strengthen your position and make it to the next cut. So these workshops are designed to get you past the first hurdle. We will be running some other job materials and preparation sessions for what happens when you make the second cut, what happens when you make a campus visit, what are some things that you could do. And we actually have several candidates or several coaches that are deans or have been chairs of searches for long periods of time that can even do some individual coaching on that front if you want someone to help you coach through your job search this time. So thank you. And I'm hoping to see you in the workshops, and happy writing this week.